for joining us today. I have Katrice Young. She is the co-founder of Women in Spirits. Katrice, welcome to Drinks with Dee Dee.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm glad to have you here. We met you at a virtual mixer once before, and my husband and I were excited to speak with you. So let me ask you, tell us a little bit about the organization, the background, and how you guys got started.
I work in the spirit and wine industry. I've been in the industry for about 13, 14 years. And so I got into the industry on the event side, basically. My brother owned a sports bar, and I was doing all of their events and marketing at the time, and was approached when Houston had their first Super Bowl by a brand, Crown Royal, to execute their Super Bowl promotions. And then from there, one thing led to another, and I ended up coming on this side of the industry, which I call it. So from the promotional event side, and then on the corporate side. So within that time frame of, obviously, I've networked with a lot of people, fast forward working for different major brands, Diageo, Moet Hennessy. I've worked for Coca-Cola as well. When at one point I left the alcohol or adult beverage industry and went just to Coca-Cola, non-alcoholic, and then was pulled back in. I work with Remy Martin, and then also most recently with Pernod Ricard. So with that being said, I've been in leadership roles in my last probably four positions with different companies. I've been in leadership roles. And then I noticed that there's not a lot of females in the industry as it is, and not a lot in leadership roles. And then even more significant, there's not a lot of women of color, well, Black women specifically, in leadership roles. So coming up, and then also working with some of the promotional teams. A lot of the ladies I would come across were like college students, or it was a part-time gig for them, and they were finding different ways or different opportunities in the industry, and saw it as a more I guess an actual career, and showing interest that way. And so a couple of my girls that work with me, they would look at me and say I was kind of like a role model for them, because they didn't see people that looked like me in the industry. And then from there is where I kind of got the idea, like, you know what, all these other companies and groups have organizations where, the women stick together. And just being in the industry, I've sponsored a lot of charity events, a lot of, um, like high net worth individuals who do different things, or annual fundraisers and things like that. So but not seeing a lot of me. So with that being said, over lunch one day I was with a colleague of mine at the time, and she was kind of in the middle of jobs and really didn't know if she wanted to stay in the industry or move on to something else. And so I said, well, you know what, we should start an organization where we can have somebody to lean on, and help educate, like a bartender or something like that, who may want to, move up in the world or start their new brand like yourselves, or, just different things like that. Because for the most part, a lot of people were under the impression that my job was just all fun. And so I actually said, no, there's really like work behind all this, and insights and sales data. And, like I'm responsible for a certain territory and the success of different brands. So with that being said, Women in Spirits was born 3 years ago, actually. And originally, like I said, it started as an opportunity for women in the spirit industry at some capacity to network, whether you wanted to, expand your knowledge, learn more about, tequila making process, or, if you had a business or something like that that you wanted to expand. So we originally started focusing on women in the spirit industry, but after about 6 months of doing our monthly mixers, quite a few of the women who were attending were, corporate jobs, but then still had like side gigs or side businesses that they were trying to, get going, or just there to network. And so we expanded from there to not just women in the spirit industry, but then just professional women, overall, that come from different aspects, different walks of life. You could be a corporate person, an entrepreneur, marketer, creative, and then it just went from there. So since then, we started with about maybe 10, 15, consistent members, and now we're at about 60.
That's amazing. And I love the way that that came together. So when you started to get the women from all the different backgrounds and corporate backgrounds, what did you find? How did you find that changed your organization?
I think it kind of validated it more in a way, that we were able to have like certain people, attend our events and actually bring something to the table, or, bring some added value. One thing that we always do for all of our mixers, even though it's around the whole cocktail culture, there's still like something else that we're trying to accomplish. So whether it's, money management, how to stay resilient during COVID, career change is, if it's something that you want to talk about that. One of the ladies is on our board. She's a banker. And so she brings a lot of knowledge as far as like talking about investments and, money management and, things like that. And, and this is my opinion, but I feel like our culture can, as a whole, probably needs more influence for like our youth and things like that when it comes to money management. So that's cool. We have another girl that's in the group who, she works in travel. I also meet a lot of people who, like traveling is not like the tell all be all, but I've actually met people who've never been out of their city before. And, that's, like, oh, okay, well, let's get you out of here and, open up some doors and, expand your culture or knowledge or et cetera. So a lot of the women actually now in the organization, majority of the women who are either in our leadership board or just members are not even from the spirit industry. They're either, they come from, they're educators, in healthcare, they're just so many different avenues that bring us all together.
Love that. So you guys have a lot of different backgrounds of women. So if you had to pick and you have to say, well, a woman in our organization is this type of woman, or this is a good fit. I don't want to have to categorize her, but if you could say she would be a good fit, what does that look like for someone who may be interested in joining your organization? Sounds like a sorority pitch.
Yeah, that's kind of a broad question because we do have some people that join who are looking for ways. Like, here's an example. One young lady who joined, she had just moved to the Houston area and didn't know anyone, so she joined as a way to network and meet people. And then also, to be a little bit more social because she said she was always a little bit more reserved and didn't really, open up herself to people and acquire new relationships. So that's helped her network and, meet other people. But then at the same time, some of the women that are in the organization, I would say, that we're strong. We try to empower each other. We're listeners, encouragers, educators. Some of us are moms, some of us are not. So I think that, I mean, that's a big question, but at the end of the day, we're all female. And, most of our events are, probably 100% female, but we do have events where, some of the men join, to support and, give feedback and things like that. So yeah, that's a good question. I have to think about how to answer that if I'm asked that again, because there's so many different, type of people, but I would just say that, they're strong and very female driven.
Well, I like the fact that you said everybody has something different to bring to the table. So, I mean, I think that's very beneficial. Okay, and my last question for you. So, what can we expect from you ladies in the future? What do we have to look forward to? Is there, and also give me where we can find you or your plug.
So we launched our website in September. So we're at womeninspirits.org. So that you can go to the website and get more information about us. We're on Instagram. We're at Women in Spirits HTX for Houston. Because there's someone else that has a Women in Spirits page. So make sure you put the HTX at the end of that. And then, so for 2020, our goal was to grow the organization, establish ourselves, have presence on social media, and just kind of have a very strong backbone. For 2021, you'll see we'll be doing more elevated events that are going to be quarterly. We do have, considering the current situation with the pandemic and everything, we've had to push quite a few of our events back or postpone them. We have what we call a Women Who Inspire event that will be coming up, where we'll be honoring 10 women in the Houston area, for different things that they do, to give back to the community. Some of those women are part of our organization and some aren't, but, again, it could be educator, healthcare provider, just a mom, just anybody who, we'll be taking nominations and then we'll pick 10. So that's something that's coming up. We are also planning a cocktail festival. So I don't want to say too much about that. So more details to come with that would be a different twist, for the Houston area and hopefully to expand. And then ultimately, we are expanding outside of Houston. So we're going to start our first extended chapter in Dallas.
Yay!
So hopefully the pandemic will hurry up and scoot on by. And so that way we can, uh, start up our chapter there.
Well, let's pray for that. I need this pandemic to pass.
Oh, same.
Thank you so much for sitting with us. Thank you for inspiring women.